In this lecture, we're going to prevent access to the Manage page if the user is not logged in. There is one limitation with guards that we'll need to learn before we can guard the route. Guard functions do not have access to the methods and properties of a component. This includes the before route enter guard. The this keyword is unusable. This is because the component hasn't been rendered or initialized yet. The navigation guards run before any of the lifecycle functions do. It isn't until we call the next function that the component will be created. It's important to understand this because you may want to access the data in a component, but won't be able to until the guard calls the next function. Unfortunately, this includes the store. We'll continue working in the manage component file. We'll need an alternative method for accessing the state. Luckily, mapping the store to a component is an optional step. For emergencies, we can run the store as a function. This will cause the store to return an object with access to the state, getters, and actions. At the top of the script block, import the user store. If we want to access the store in a guard, we'll need to import it directly. Inside the before route enter function, create a variable called store. Its value will be the use user store function. We're going to check if the user is logged in the navigation guard. Remove the next function. We want to perform some checks before calling the next function. Let's create a conditional statement. For the condition, let's check the store.userLoggedIn property. If it is, we'll call the next function. If they aren't, we'll want to redirect them. We'll add an else block. The next function can be used to redirect the visitor. We can pass in a string of the path we'd like to redirect them to. Alternatively, we can pass in an object for a more complex path. It's the same object you would use for the to property on the router link component. We're going to use an object because we want the router to use the name of the path. We'll pass in an object with the name property set to home. Another option is to pass in false. This value will prevent the component from loading. It's the same as not calling the function at all. However, I don't want to show the user an empty page. I would rather redirect them. Let's try testing if this works. Let's refresh the Manage page in the browser. The page will load properly because I'm logged in. I'm going to log out. Then I'll refresh the Manage page. This time we're redirected to the home page. By using a navigation guard, we're able to deny access to pages where a user doesn't have the correct permissions. We'll look at ways we can improve this in the next few lectures.